This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you through this 2025 Flagstaff Classic fifth wheel. The model number is 529 IKRL, which would be Island Kitchen Rear Living, I believe. Okay, so this is a how-to video. I'm just going to show you some of the features and how they work, okay? Okay. So here we have a quick connect for a coiled sprayer, hot and cold water. Okay, we have a powered awning with LED strip here on the slide room. Also outside speakers, a TV signal out, 120 AC, and then there's also a bracket to hang a TV on here. Okay. This rail here is for a griddle, and you can plug it in. Let's see where the plug is. Right there, if you can see the yellow rubber plug hanging there, that's the quick connect for the LP system for the griddle. Okay? Griddle just hangs right on that rail there. As we move forward, this is your water heater. Works on both gas and electric. The switches are inside. I'll show them to you when we get in there. This is where you drain it. 1/16" 6-point socket. Okay. Never run the water heater without water in it. Always make sure there's water in the tank. Here's your griddle here. You can see there's the rubber hose used to connect it. There's the top of the griddle there. Let's see here. This is a table that hangs next to it, and then you can see we'll look at the other side of your dump hose kit. You can sort of see part of your coiled sprayer sticking out there. Of course, there's a crank. Okay. Alrighty, let's move a little farther. You have a 30-pound LP tank here, full. We come around the front. Ouch. Never do what I just did. We have a battery here, Deep Cycle Marine battery. This is the kill switch for the battery right here. Okay. There's some jumpers to add a second battery into the second battery box if you choose to. Okay. Docking light switch. This is just a pre-wire in case you happen to purchase a solar battery charger kit. It's just a solar panel that's portable, and you would plug it in there, point it at the sun, and it charges the battery. It's a pre-wired option. Of course, your second tank is there. This is your leveling system. You've got a 4-point leveling system. So the two most important commands here, okay, are auto level, and if you go down, push the arrow once down, auto hitch height. Okay. Auto hitch height is the last position that the trailer was in before you auto leveled. So you get to the campground, you pull your tow vehicle away, you come back over here, you push auto level, and it levels the trailer. It remembers the position it was in before you auto level. That's hitch height. So when you come back, you'll push to when you're getting ready to leave the campsite, you'll push the down arrow like I did to auto hitch, then push enter, and it'll return the trailer to the position it was in before you auto leveled. So you should be able to slide right underneath and hook up. Now you can operate the jacks manually of each other. You can retract all. If you ever retract all, be careful because it'll nosedive the front end, and if anything's underneath here, it'll get squished. So make sure you pay attention if you push retract all. It's not something you really need to do. Auto level and auto hitch are the two main commands to remember. Of course, there are more, and you can learn as much as you choose to about it. Here's a cheat sheet that tells you pretty much what I just told you. Okay. All right. So this is your water filter canister. You get a filter plus a wrench for that. Okay. This is your power inverter. Okay. So that inversion, we'll talk more about it when we get inside, but inversion is converting DC to AC power. So you start with 12 volt DC in the battery, and then you're going to convert it to 120 AC, and it sends power to the receptacles in the trailer. So you can run a small appliance if you don't have AC power. Let's say you're out in the middle of nowhere and all you have is battery power. And you have a blender, a very small appliance, blender, coffee pot, those sort of things. You can actually flip on the inverter and you can run that AC appliance for a little bit off of your DC battery. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, that is the blue sprayer we talked about. Okay. Another place to plug the blue sprayer in is right here. Okay. Cable and satellite through. Your water pump can be turned on from out here. Also, you can turn it on from the inside. So, you have your 4 valves here, and then you have five diagrams. The most common is the center one that says city water. So if you put the valves in those positions, you just hook the hose right up here, the city water hose right to there, and you've got city water. Now if you're camping someplace without city water, you're boondocking or whatever you're doing, and you don't have city water, before you leave, you put the valves into this position right here, power tank fill, and then you still have the hose on here. You can fill your fresh water tank, and then when you get to where you're going, you can switch to dry camping, right? Turn on the water pump, and you can pump the water out of the tank. All the plumbing will work as though you have city water. You'll just be pumping from your storage tank, okay? And of course you have winterize, and then you have a sanitize function where you can draw whatever solution you have, either a pre-made one or make one out of bleach and water yourself, or however you do it, you could draw it that way, okay? The other function is the black tank flush right here. So there's a warning sticker here, and what this says is you don't want to turn the water onto this flush unless the valve on your black tank, the dump valve on your black tank, is open. So basically, what we're saying is when you have your dump hose on here, you dump your black tank right there, right? And then you leave the valve open, right? Then you'll come over to here and turn on the water to your flush, the water at the dump station, and flush it out. But you leave the black tank valve open, okay? You just don't want too much pressure to build up. All right, so this is the vent for your furnace, of course. Those are your dump valves and your low points. Here, just gives you access to the valve to turn your ice maker on and off when you winterize the trailer, okay? Some people forget that it has to be winterized, obviously, or it'll break. At storage, you have a 50 amp system here, so that's your 50 amp cord. Plus we give you a reducer to reduce it down to 30, and another one to reduce it down to 20, okay? This is the second way to fill your fresh water tank. So I showed you the first way by having the hose hooked up to the city water fill and then changing the valves. Well, you can also just put the hose in here and fill it that way. It does the same thing. All right, you have a ladder, which makes it easy to inspect the roof. The manufacturer states every 90 days the roof should be inspected. You need to look for damage caused by low branches, road debris flying up there. You look at the sealant to make sure there's no cracking or separating where water can get through, that sort of thing. That's every 90 days. It's an important thing to do. You also have a backup camera housing there. It's pre-wired for a Furrion backup camera kit if you're interested in that. Okay, so let's go inside, see what we've got going here. Okay, first thing we see when we come through the door is your carbon monoxide LP gas detector. It should always be green like it is. If it's not green, get it serviced. It's hardwired to the battery, so it's always on, and it has to be working. So if you ever see that light go out, there's also a test button you can push. If it doesn't work, get it fixed or replaced. It's not expensive, but it's very important, of course, okay? This is a remote for your fan here. Uh-oh, do we have power turned on? I guess we don't. I guess we don't. Let's see where we're at here. Okay. Well, Anyway, this is the remote for your fan up here, and it opens the lid, and you can change the fan speeds, that sort of thing. Okay. Let me see if I can get this going. No. Okay. Well, apparently it's we're away from the building right now. Apparently they didn't plug it in for me, so I'll just still walk you through it. Up here is your control panel, of course. So you have your 2 awnings here. Never leave the awnings out unattended. 2 power awnings. Always roll them in if you're not going to be at the campsite. 3 slide rooms. Okay. Your lights are here. Booster is for your is for Wi-Fi signal. You have like a well, let's see. It's kind of it's called a Wi-Fi Ranger. You can see this tag up here. What it is a signal, basically a Wi-Fi signal booster. So you turn that on like that, and you come up here to this, and the top one, it says network, and it says Tenton 9338. That's the name of your Wi-Fi Ranger. So you look in your device, all your family's phones, to the Wi-Fi section, and you look for that Tenton 9338, and that's you. So you'll put a password in so it'll log on automatically, right? Then on somebody in a browser, you'll go to this address here, right? And they'll ask you for a password. The password is Change Me Now 9338. It's a temporary password. And you'll put that in there and you'll see everything the Wi-Fi Ranger sees, right? So basically you'll log on to the public Wi-Fi, the strongest signal you can get. Usually it'll be the campground Wi-Fi, but this is basically there's an antenna on the roof. It's a signal booster. It really boosts the signal so you get really good public Wi-Fi. So that's a cool thing to have. This is telling you about the app. The contact or the Connect one here has to do with the app. Okay, put some lights on. Now these lights are running off the solar panel right now. So we do have some power, but it's coming from the solar panel. You can see up here, this is your solar controller here. The button you pay attention to is B, button B. So let's see what we've got here. Okay, so they didn't change the battery. So let me do this to begin with. You have to if you ever change the batteries, you got to do this. You have to go through this procedure, and basically you're going to if it's a lead battery or a lithium battery or an AGM gel, whatever, you have to tell that what type of battery you have. Then you'll scroll through. This is telling us you've got 12.6 volts DC in the system. You push B again. We're gaining 1.7 amps from the sun. You see the sun in the airport towards the solar panel there. So it's 1.8 now. Depends on the time of day, the cloud cover, the position of the sun compared to is in relationship to the solar panels. All those things affect the amount of amperage you're saving into the battery. But right now we're saving 1.8 amps. You just we're 78% charged right now. Amp hours, back to the original screen. So B is the button you're gonna use to scroll through the different functions or the different displays, I guess you would say. So, okay, so that's your solar controller for your solar panel. Thermostat is self-evident. You just pick the zone and the mode you want, just like any thermostat. Okay. Alrighty. The keys are hanging here, of course. Your refrigerator is here. So let me see what kind of refrigerator we have so I can give you correct information here. So I'm going to unscrew this so I can look at the tag on it. Always travel with this latch, like with it screwed in there so the doors don't fling open and get dented. Okay. So let's see here. Other one. It's nice and cool in there anyway. So just bear with me a second. I just have to get really close so I can see this. Excuse me. Yeah. So this is a 115 amp AC refrigerator. So in this case, I mentioned sending power to the receptacles, but in this case, your power converter, or excuse me, I'm sorry, your inverter is powering your refrigerator. So anytime you're not plugged into shore power, the battery, the 12-volt DC battery is powering your refrigerator. The inverter inverts the power to 120 AC and sends it straight to your refrigerator. So when you're pulling down the road, you want to keep your refrigerator cool. Your tow vehicle is charging the battery. The battery is sending 12-volt DC to the inverter. The inverter is changing it to 120 AC and sending it to your refrigerator. Therefore, you can always have, it's always cool, right? So, the other way these inverters will work is they will invert receptacles. I didn't prep this trailer, but I can see that with this one it's inverting. The inverter is powering your refrigerator with the 12-volt battery. We're not plugged into AC power right now, and you can see that your AC refrigerator is running just fine with no AC power. It's running off the 12-volt battery right now with the inverter. Okay? Alrighty. Okay, let me look around a little bit so I don't want to forget anything here. I'm actually looking for the power converter while we're talking about this sort of thing. I talked to you about the solar panel and the solar controller, the inverter. The other thing is, it's something most trailers have, or all trailers have for that matter. It's called the power converter. That's this right here. So this does the opposite of what the inverter does. The inverter goes AC to, or DC to AC. This goes from AC to DC. So you start off with 120 AC circuit breakers here, like you'd see at home, and they're all labeled. So as long as you're plugged into shore power, you've got 120 AC right here. Then on this side of it, the AC power is converted to 12-volt DC. So it's the opposite of inversion. So you're converting to 12-volt DC. And you can see the fuses there, 12-volt DC fuses, and they're all labeled, right? So everything that can run on DC power in a trailer does. The things that can't are the microwave, the air conditioner, in this case the refrigerator. Some have DC refrigerators, but this one has an AC. So everything that can run on DC does, and this is where it comes from this power converter, which converts AC to DC. This is also a battery tender, so it'll sense how much energy your battery has. As long as you're plugged into shore power, it's going to send 12-volt DC to your battery and keep it charged. So your tow vehicle charges the battery when you're going down the road. When you're plugged into shore power, your power converter charges the battery, and your solar panels charge the battery as it can, depending on the conditions outside, okay? And one other thing about the solar controller is if it starts flashing and says FUL, it's not insulting you. It's telling you that the battery is totally charged. There's no more room, so it shut down the panel, or the solar panel. So if it does that, it'll flash FUL, and as soon as the amperage drops in the battery, it'll go back to the normal screens, right? So keep that in mind. Also, I mentioned you can add a second battery. You can sort of see now why there would be advantage to having two batteries. Okay, just make sure they're wired together. To continue to put out 12-volt DC, you just want to double the storage capacity. If you look above the battery box in the front compartment, there's a sticker with wiring diagrams on there that shows you how they want you to do it. Okay. Okay, so this is prepped for a washer dryer. You can put a stackable or a combo, it looks like. Stackable is better, obviously, because you got more room in it. It's just a bigger system. So you always want these latched when you're traveling. You don't want the doors to fling around and get damaged, okay? Okay, you have TV hookups here and a backer plate, of course. The bathroom, the most important thing I'm going to tell you about the bathroom is always latch your doors when you're traveling in transit. Always latch them in the open position with this. If you don't, it's just a matter of time before one of them's going to crack or break, because they'll slide back and forth and get kind of very energetic, so to speak. So you always want them latched in the open position. They'll never break if you do that, okay? So that's why you want to make sure they're latched when you're traveling. This is another eco device here. This is a shower miser. This basically is a water saving device. Normally when you're heating up your hot water, the cold water while it's heating up just goes down the drain. So you're wasting perfectly good fresh water, and you're wasting space in your gray tank by just dumping good water in there. So in this position, it's in bypass, and what happens is it circulates the water in a loop while it's heating up. So you got the hot water on, and the water's going down to the water pump, to the water heater, back around to here, and it'll go around and around in a loop, right? Once the water gets hot, this gray plastic will turn to a beigeish color. You'll see it plain as day. Once that does, it's telling you the water's heated up. So you'll flip it to this position, it'll work like a regular shower, right? So you've heated up the water without wasting any fresh water. So that's just called the shower miser. You can always go to their website, any of these devices, components of the trailer, go to the manufacturer's site and look at their videos and their literature. You can learn as much as you need to about it. Because there's also, I was talking about when you're using the fresh water tank. There's also a different scenario when you're using your city water hookup, for example. So you can read up on that. This is a GFCI. There's a GFC in the front, and I think there's one in the bedroom. But there's also regular receptacles that aren't GFCIs. Even the regular receptacles are wired to a GFCI, so every plug in the trailer is GFCI protected, even though it's not physically a GFCI. So if you're outside and the receptacle's not working, first thing you think is GFCI, and come in here and find one of the GFCIs and look at them until you find the one that's popped, okay? Now the remote for the same type of fan, a 4-speed fan, okay? Toilet works like any other RV toilet. You need a dose of chemical in the bowl and at least a gallon of water to start off with. So you toss in the chemical, you step on the pedal and hold it down until you put at least a gallon of water in there. More is better. Never use less than a gallon, but more is good. So anytime you're starting off with an empty black tank, you wanna use chemical and at least a gallon of water. Okay. Alrighty. So let's see what else we forgot here. Your theater recliners, they are powered, obviously. This is a hide-a-bed here, so you pull the cushions off, you reach down here and unfold it. It's a 3-panel hide-a-bed. It's actually a decent one. Of course, your TV is your TV. Then you have your sound bar. Right, your sound bar has FM radio. It has Bluetooth, so you can stream with it. 2 speaker zones inside and outside. You have a USB drive, so you could take your MP3s with you on a USB and take them all with you. It has an basically, like I said, it has FM radio, no AM, and the main function is really streaming with it. So, okay. And then your fireplace, of course, we're not plugged in, so I can't show you, but it works on AC power, and you can change the fan speed. It's a really good space heater. Change the color and the intensity of the fire. There's a timer that you can set the timer to go on and off. So you have that. Okay. Microwave works like any other microwave. Typical RV range in that you have a sparker. I don't know if he's got the gas turned on. Yep, he does. So you just spark it by turning it clockwise. If you'd like the burners, this is the oven knob. The oven has a pilot light back there. You can see it sparking back there. So you're just going to go to the picture of the flame, you depress it, spark it. Once it lights down here, you still hold this for another 10 or 15 seconds to heat up the thermocouple. And then from that point on, you're going to go to whatever temperature you want. When you shut it off, the pilot light goes out. So you have to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. Always travel with this closed. Okay. And you have lights here also. Oven light and ambient light. Alright. I think that about covers it. I want to look around. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Okay. The chairs you want to, let me look here and see what we've got. Generally, yeah, it has straps. So you can see how the inner legs are strapped around the main table base. The pedestal, I guess you would call it. So you want to do that. It doesn't keep them from moving, but it'll keep them from flying around if you hit a wild bump. So yeah, you should do that too, okay? Alright, so I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. we can go over anything else with you when you pick up, so you'll, you know, any questions and anything, we'll work with you. And also, please remember, every 90 days, inspect that roof. And right now we're in camping mode. So all the antifreeze has been purged, fresh water is in the system, your bypass valves and your water heater are in the correct position. It's all set for the summer, okay? Thank you very much.